Yes, Prabhuji.
And then we'll have introduction.
Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya
मैंने उससे पूछा, ये बोल रहा है 1926 वाले में था।
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Prashadam Ranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Prashadam Ranjana Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe Jaya Radha Gandharva Giridhari Radha Gandharva Giridhari Radhe Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Jai Guru Deva Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Jai Gaura Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So would like to welcome all the devotees, and especially would really like to welcome today's special guest we have. And it's a really honor and privilege to introduce a special couple, Yugal Kisar Prabhuji and Kishori Mataji. So though they are from Bangalore, but they have been staying in Dubai for decades, and not just staying, they have just gone to earn some money, but they're really earning that Bhakti Dhana. And not only earning Bhakti Dhana, but they are distributing Bhakti Dhana or the Prema Dhana to a most difficult place in the world, like Middle East. And they have been preaching across different strata, right? Like to the Sikhs and to the consulate generals and to the laborers who are working in different construction sites, like giving the love of Godhead everywhere. And they have been doing programs like in Burj Khalifa sometime, in some Sikh's house and some conference room, like some wonderful programs they have been doing. And like usually, we have seen how Mataji starts with kirtan along with Mataji's daughters, and then Prabhuji really gives his Nectarian Bhagavad-Gita Katha, right? So very wonderful, very fiery, in their spirit in spreading the love of Godhead, empowered by Srila Prabhupada. And now they have started showering after Paschata Desh Tarini, Middle East Tarini, after delivering all the Middle East areas, now they have decided to come back to Bangalore. And they wanted to give their sweetness through prasad. Recently, Prabhuji, Mataji, they have started Prasadam restaurants. It's called Element 3. We started one in Whitefield, and they have planned to extend it throughout Bangalore and throughout India. So nobody else can really be the right speaker for today, where we are talking about why to offer Bhoga, what to offer, and how to offer. Right, Kishori Mataji, not only right in ISKCON, she is really recognized for a devotional mood and for kirtan and so on. Among so many sannyasis he has been serving, but also in an industrial contemporary world also, Mataji is recognized as one of the entrepreneur. Right, Mataji has been recognized one of the Sattvic restaurant, right, like certified by different bodies. So we're very, very fortunate to have both Prabhuji and Mataji. So it's really our honor. Thank you, Prabhuji and Mataji, for joining and really blessing all of us and inspiring us.
Hey, thank you, Sudhir Gopal Prabhu. Hare Krishna to all of you. And I've always been a recipient of special mercy from the devotees in Whitefield. Hare Krishna. And special mercy I've always got from Sudhir Gopal Prabhu and Harikshetra Prabhu, besides all the other wonderful devotees. So all those who are attending are very, very fortunate to be associated with exalted Vaishnavas like them. And today I think you all have assembled, Kishori was telling me, for a session on the importance of Prashadam. So there is a wonderful sloka from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which says, Ataha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriya sevon mukhe hi jikvado swayam eva spurati adaha. So we all understand the basics of spirituality, that the life's goal, especially in the human form of life and only in the human form of life, is actually to attain the lotus feet of Krishna and an understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So all our spiritual activities are actually, directed in that direction of understanding the Supreme Absolute Truth. And the way to do it is Ataha Shri Krishna Nama Adi Na Bhaved Grahyam Indriya. Grahyam means blunted, Indriya means senses. With our blunted senses, we will never able to understand the glories of Krishna, his name, his form, his qualities and pastimes, which is the glory and the goal of human life. And the understanding starts with Sevon Mukhehi Jivvado. Through the service of the tongue, we can start understanding. When we say Sevon Mukhehi Jivvado, what does that mean? The tongue has to be used in the service of Krishna. So that is the most important thing, how the Supreme Absolute Truth becomes manifest to all of us. So when we use the tongue, we use it for two things, like we have assembled today to discuss Krishna Katha. So we use the tongue to discuss Krishna Katha. And the second way of using the tongue is by using the tongue to only have Krishna Prasadam. Prasadam simply means mercy of the Lord that we are getting through food offered to the Lord. So now with this sloka alone, we can understand the extreme and high importance of Prashadam in our lives. So you all have assembled today to actually discuss a very, very important topic which can elevate our consciousness and take us to the spiritual realm by just consuming Krishna Prasadam. Hare Krishna to all of you, and have a wonderful session. Kishori will take over, and she's put up some nice presentation for all of us. So let us enjoy the presentation and implement it in our daily lives.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. I guess everyone can see my screen.
Yes, Mataji, beautiful. Right.
Yeah. So today we'll talk about offering Bhoga and honoring Prasadam. So it's not just eating Prasadam, it is honoring Prasadam. Why do we say it's honoring Prasadam? So we'll just go through these slides to understand what is Bhoga and what is Prasadam. Yeah, so you can see this whole picture over here depicts even how beautifully it is laid out and given to Sri Krishna. And why do we do it? Yeah. So the next one is the essence of Krishna worship is love. It's not a ritual. So when you have a very important person in your life whom you love the most, you'll do the best things to offer to that person. And that most important person actually in our life should be Sri Krishna, because that is an eternal relationship that we have. All the other relationships that we have around us is temporary. So the entire essence of this whole aspect of offering Bhoga, honoring Prasadam is actually an exchange of love with Sri Krishna. So Krishna says in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita, 26th verse, Patram pushpam phalam thoyam, yo me bhaktya prayachati, tadaham bhakti upahritam, ashnami prayatatmanaha. So he says, if one offers me with love and devotion, a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. That's what he says. And these are very simple things. We always tell our children in the children's class, start your day by offering something to the Lord. Before you go to school, at least offer a glass of water to the children, to the Supreme Lord. Chant one small bead, the 27 beads, because if they don't have time to do 108, at least start with that. We start with that, And here the word bhaktya prayachati means I accept it because of love. Just as much as we want to see the Lord, or even more than what we want to see the Lord, the desire from the Lord's side is more to get us back home, back to Godhead. I don't know if you all have heard the story of Gopakumar. Gopakumar was just a cowherd boy. But when he made his way back home, back to Godhead, Krishna said, where have you been? I've been waiting for you. And that is the position with all of us too. Because constitutionally, we are all servants of Sri Krishna. We have been in his realm. But because of our independent desires, independent selfish desires to become little controllers, we have come down to Bhuloka. And here we are controlling our home, children, husband, families, everyone, right? So we have the aspect of controller here. But Krishna is waiting there for us. So he says, whatever you offer to me, I'll accept it with love. And he says, I'm voraciously hungry, ashnami, for the expressions of love, bhakti upahrita, from the pure-hearted, prayatatmanaha. So for the intelligent person, now why do we say intelligent person? Because again, it is defined in the Srimad Bhagavatam that what is the verse that is defined in the Srimad Bhagavatam? Krishna varnam tvisa akrishnam sango pangastra Prashadam yajñar sankirtana prayer yajantihi sumedashaha. Sumeda means somebody who is intelligent. So all of us who are here are intelligent folks. That's why we are here. Otherwise we would have, it's a Sunday evening in India. We could go out and do a whole lot of things. But we are here because we want to hear about the glories of the Supreme Lord. So this is the intelligent bunch of people, devotees and friends who are here who want to hear about Sri Krishna. So he says, for intelligent person, it is essential to be in Krishna consciousness, engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord in order to achieve permanent blissful abode for eternal happiness. So we know that the Lord's abode is eternal. So what are the qualities which are mentioned? Sat, Chit, and Ananda. It's full of knowledge, eternality, full of bliss. Kyunki ye jo bhuloka mein hum rehte hain, what is it? Sukh to kshanik hai, Anand shashwat hai. So this chapala sukh that we see, or this flickering happiness that we see, is only kshanik. It's only momentary. But the shashvat anand you will get when we go back home, back to Godhead. And that's what Krishna tells us. The process of achieving such a marvelous result is easy. Krishna only wants a loving service and nothing more. Yeah. So this is the mood with which we start worshipping the Supreme Lord. When we say Supreme Lord, he's an important person. He's important, and he's the most important person in our lives. So our whole life should be dedicated, not offering as a ritual. Are subah subah mujhe uthe ye naha ke ye bhog chadani hai, kya yaar, ye pagalpan hai. That's not the mood. The mood is, hey, what can I cook for Krishna? What can I buy from the market for Krishna? So every time we are thinking of gratifying our senses or the senses of our family, So my husband likes suran ki sabji, so main aaj suran ki sabji banaungi. But why don't we just change that mindset a little? Why not offer Krishna suran ki sabji today? And then we all get to honor that prasadam, which all of us like. Yeah. So that is the mindset. So then what happens is we start developing this loving relationship with the Supreme Lord. So that's one verse. And offered with love, and Krishna accepts even a little because he's called as Bhava Grahi Janardana. Yeah, he likes to see your bhava. He likes to see all our bhava. What is the mood with which we are going to be offering to him? Even if a devotee offers him a small flower, we've heard about so many devotees. I've just got this picture of this lady who offers fruits and he fills her basket with a lot of jewels. We are not going to be expecting jewels from Krishna when we offer the fruits, because we know that we shouldn't be expecting anything but just offering to him. But automatically he takes care of every need, because Krishna says in the Bhagavad-Gita, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yoga kshemam vahamyaham. He will take care of what we need and he'll protect what we have. He says that. So whatever our desires are there, if they are the right desires, he will take care of it. And we should also understand that Krishna is not just waiting for our food. He's not going to be hungry if we don't offer him. He is self-sufficient. Yet he accepts any offering of his devotee in exchange of love and affection. We all know the story of Sudama. Yeah. So Sudama just took up, a handful of poa, and he went and he was hiding it, and it was in a very dirty cloth. But what did the Lord do? He said, Sudama, what are you hiding? Please give it to me. And then he opened it and he honored what he had brought for him. And then we know the story of what happened in the background till Rukmini told him, stop, after one thing, don't eat more. Because he had already been ordained with a lot of, wealth and everything. So she said, just stop, she tells the Lord. So that is an exchange of love and affection. The most important element in preparation and serving and is the offering, offering is the act of love for Krishna. So whenever we are preparing Bhoga, we will see how we prepare Bhoga, what we do when we prepare Bhoga. It's an act of love. It should never be that a cumbersome act, So when that is the mood that we should try to develop, and we'll also speak about how we try to develop that mood. And feed Krishna because you want him to know that you love him and you're thinking of him. Don't do it for any other reason. Yeah. Always we should have this mood that, Krishna should somewhere see me. And how would you do that? If he has to spot you somewhere, then you should do something extraordinary. And that extraordinary thing is just that little show of love that he is expecting from us. So this is something that we could do. Then again in the Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna talks on a different level in the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita. Yajna Shishchashina Santo Muchyante Sarva Kilbishai Bunjate Tetvagam Papma Ye Pachanti Atma Karmanat. What does he say? The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. So we also understand from the same chapter in the 9th verse, Krishna is saying, whatever you do as an offering, do it as an offering unto me. Yajnartart karmano anyatra. Loko yam karma bandhana. Because any other sacrifice that you do will bind you to the, the cycle of birth, death. birth, death, old age, and disease. Others who prepare food for personal sense or enjoyment verily eat only sin, he says. So this is talking about eating consecrated food. Yeah, so we should be conscious what kind of prasadam, what are we eating basically. Yeah, and again in the 7th chapter, Krishna has explained that he impregnates the living entities into the material nature. This is done by looking upon the material nature. So we understand that the first Vishnu, the Karno, the Kashai Vishnu, who's lying in the causal ocean, just through the breathing, universes are emanated from his pores. And so in this instance, Krishna's hearing the devotees' words of love in offering foodstuffs is equally with his eating and actually tasting. So this is how Krishna views what we offer to him with love. So we have to understand from the strength of the Shastras also. The Shastras are telling us so many things, and Krishna himself is telling us in Bhagavad-Gita. And, it's nice to have an authority telling us many times, so it helps us to actually develop our faith. And here the Supreme Lord himself is giving us this instruction. So we hear from him on the 7th chapter. Then why do we offer Bhoga? So the aspect of offering Bhoga, you tend to be more careful while cooking food. You don't mix, you're very clean, your consciousness has to be very good. And obviously, because you're cooking for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we are a bit more careful, whatever we do. We normally in the deity kitchen, even in our kitchen at home, because we have a lot of devotees also who come, sannyasis who come and stay, we have segregated the deity vessels and the eating vessels. And we've just kept certain pots separate so that it is used only for cooking bhoga, And because you understand that this is for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you cannot offer anything on a jute up vessel. You will become more self-conscious while eating, like you won't offer food which is packed for a long time, made by someone who is unclean. Hence, it is healthy for you all. So we know that fresh food is the most important thing. So we offer Bhoga. We make sure that it is not processed food. It is not kept for 1 week in the fridge, because in many countries, in the Western countries, in India, actually, that concept was never there till many years ago. You had food cooked and immediately it used to be consumed. So, but in the Western countries, what do? They cook on a Sunday for the next 7 days. They put it in the fridge and put it into little boxes, plastic packets. I've seen it. They term it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So, and every day they pick out different boxes. But then we should understand that that food is not fresh and it's not healthy also for us. So what we do as Indians, we are very, very fortunate to come from this culture where, you're taught right from your childhood about the aspect of freshly cooked food. The same way, Bhoga is something that which you don't pick out a packet and then you say, oh, this is, I cooked it 4 days ago. Now I can offer it to the Lord. You cook fresh and you offer it to the Supreme Lord. There's a different kind of happiness when you don't have the ego of mine and mine. When you offer the food, you have the feeling that it's Krishna's grace, because of which you're able to have the food, So most of the time, the false ego creeps up and we always have this aspect of, oh, I have cooked it, it's mine. That dissipates. And then you're offering it because you understand that it is Krishna's grace by which you've got this opportunity to even do this particular service. If happiness is the goal, then the best possible way of the happiness is to lose the ego. Drop ego and start, cooking and offering for another person who's the supreme and who's the person who will take care of us. And our ultimate goal being going back home, back to Godhead, that's what we should be looking for. And prasadam is 1,000 times tastier than normal food. Try this. You eat in a Karmi restaurant. When we go out of Dubai and we are traveling out, many times we pack rotis and we take our small pot to cook Kishori and we eat in our hotel rooms. Sometimes you're forced to eat out. You see the effect there is a dip in the consciousness, So Prasadam has got so much of potency that we should try and honor Prasadam at all times. Yeah. So Prabhupada says this, this he has said in his purport in the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita so many years ago, anticipating this corona is what I feel. Prabhupada gave us some instruction in the Bhagavad-Gita 3.14. The devotees of the Lord who are who are in Krishna consciousness offer food to Krishna and then eat a process which nourishes the body spiritually. And by this action, what happens? Not only the past sinful reactions in the body are vanquished, but the body becomes immunized to all contamination of nature. When there is an epidemic disease, an antiseptic vaccine protects a person from the attack of this epidemic. We know what we are going through now. Similarly, food offered to the Lord Vishnu, and then taken by us makes us sufficiently resistant to material affection. And one who is accustomed to this practice is called the devotee of the Lord. So Prabhupada has very clearly mentioned what is the importance of honoring Prashadam. So, we know where it is coming from, how it is cooked, and then it is offered to the Lord with so much of love. And the potency which Prasadam has, all the material affection that we have will start dissipating. Yeah. So then what do we offer? Yeah. That is another question. So many people ask, from the scriptural perspective, people actually ask us, as devotees, we can speak about Mother Sita being kidnapped, or why did the battle of Kurukshetra, take place. But many people keep asking us this question, why no onion garlic? Why no onion garlic? They keep asking us. So why no onion and garlic and mushroom? People keep asking this question, and then they tell us, onion and garlic and mushroom onion and garlic have got a lot of medical, benefits. It's a blood thinner, it's antibiotic, it's antioxidant, it's antifungal, it controls diabetes. But then some of these may be true, but then do we really have to consume it? Only if we are diseased, we have to consume it, right? So we get diseased only when we do wrong type of eating. Yeah, the wrong kind of foods that we eat. So this is something that we should understand. So it's not just ISKCON which talks about no onion garlic. We'll also listen from the other cultures. So it's cultures around the world which speaks about why onion and garlic is not very good for our food. And especially because we're cooking Bhoga, we have to refrain from taking onion and garlic and offering it, because we offer only sattvic kind of foods. So in the Greek traditional culture, I'm not talking about the Greek culture of today. Today, everything we know in Kali Yuga is completely contaminated. The traditional culture, there was a famous play called The Wives and the Thieves of Thesamophores, which was written by this guy called Aristophanes. Over there, the ladies were always seeking a paramour, so they would eat onion and garlic to keep their husbands away. So you can imagine what is the kind of thing that they had even in those days. And Hippocrates also set out rules for healthy eating and regulated living. And he says, onion and garlic actually increases the anxiety, agitation, aggressive mentality, and you get provoked easily. And if there is pain in the body, it actually aggravates the pain. This is what Hippocrates has said. Then we go to the Romans and we see vendors who sold onion and garlic were considered as outcasts in the traditional Roman days. Yeah, they were considered as outcasts, and they had to form their own guild. So the vendors who were selling onion and garlic had to form their own guild. And food left over by aristocratic people in Rome was mainly onion, garlic, and mushroom. So the rich people would not eat onion, garlic, and mushroom. They leave it behind, and that was distributed to the poor. So this is something from their culture. And again, from the British, William Shakespeare's Midsummer's Night Dream, we all know the play, right? He has written a lot of plays. There is a personality called Bottom. He says, don't eat onion and garlic before the play, as they must be prepared to utter sweet breath. Yeah, it's not just the breath, but also the speech that comes out because of onion and garlic, because it is in the mode of passion and ignorance. It's very, very toxic. So this is something that has come from William Shakespeare. And in Egypt, it was described as the food of the poor. Priests in Egypt would not consume onion and garlic. And even in the Arab world, Prabhu was having a discussion with one very, very knowledgeable Muslim person. And he said that they are not supposed to eat meat, onion, and garlic before they go to the mosque. I think about 4 hours or 3 hours before they go.
3 hours before.
3 hours before they go into the mosque. And so if they have to do 5 times prayers, they should actually abstain from eating onion and garlic and meat. But that doesn't happen because we are seeing Kali Yuga progressing, and Kali has its own, challenges. Only the poor Egyptians used to consume onion and garlic. So it's not just ISKCON, but we have other cultures like Turkey. There is a mythological legend which says that Satan, or this, Satan is the demon, right, was ousted from heaven, and when he came out of the heaven and he pressed his left foot, it became garlic, and the right foot became onion. We have the same thing in our Shastras during the Samudra Manthan, which we will come to. Then the Buddhists also in the Tao writing confirm the same, that the increase of onion and garlic actually increase the lust. So in traditional Brahmanical culture, we do not have onion and garlic. Brahmanical Vaishnava culture, it is not used, because all that we are trying to do is Sevon Mukhi He Jikwado, Ata Sri Krishna Namadi, which Prabhu spoke about, is to bring down the lust quotient, is to bring down the sense gratification quotient. So in that case, you do not offer foods to the Lord which actually have onion and garlic. So scientific reasons, onion and garlic also causes neuropsychotic imbalances. This is done as a research by a doctor, and his name is, I got his name down. It was Dr. Bob Beck. So as you age, if you're going to indulge in eating more onion garlic, you're going to have reflexes are going to become slower, and attention disorder also. It is said that a child who has attention disorder and who's very overactive, it says that if you can manage not to give the child onion and garlic for 2 months, you will see a lot of difference in the attention span. Even Ayurveda works on the principle of sattva, rajas, and tamas. And Prabhu mentioned that you all have already studied from the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita, which talks about the foods in the mode of sattva, rajas, and tamas. So I'm not going into that. Srila Prabhupada said, Prasadam should not be spicy. It should be sweet and palatable food stuff. Then we have spiritual reasons. To grow spiritually, we must abstain from eating foods which are putrid. Even rice cooked 3 hours before and kept is putrid, it becomes putrid. Prabhupada has mentioned that. So we have to cook fresh rice, and when we offer it to the Lord, it has to be fresh. And this is not conducive to the mind. And if you go and research, and if you go and search in Google, and you see in the Vaishnava literatures as well as general knowledge, Google search, you'll find that eating foods which are not actually compatible to the system causes a lot of disturbance in the mind. Then there is a story of in Satya Yuga, there was a Brahmana, and we know by the chants of the Vedic mantras, they actually do the yajnas. So they do horse sacrifice and go sacrifice. And go sacrifice does not mean, killing, there is no bloodshed. It is giving in the old cow and getting a rejuvenated new young calf back. And at that time, what happened was the wife of the Brahmana was actually pregnant, and she desired to have something to eat. And then when she saw this cow being sacrificed, she pulled out a piece of flesh and she kept it aside. And then the young calf comes out without this portion, which she has pulled out and hidden. So then what happens is when the Brahmana gets to know, he says, no, give it to me. And he throws it very far. And that, when it dropped as the bone dropped as garlic, and the flesh dropped as onion. So that is another thing. Then we go on to our spiritual stuff. We also know the Samudra Manthan time, how Rahu and Ketu, basically when Surya and Chandra inform the Supreme Lord, who is in the Mohini Murti avatar, and she goes down and she's offering the nectar. At that time, one of the demons comes as a Brahmana. And then what happens is Surya and Chandra tell him that, look, this one is not actually a Brahmana, this one is actually a demon. So the Lord takes a Sudarshan Chakra and he cuts the head off. And Rahu's head falls in one place and Ketu's, the body falls in another place. So we understand that the onion and garlic stemmed from the blood of Rahu and Ketu. Now, how do we offer Bhoga? Because I have a paucity of time, I'm going to just get on to the next one. Cleanliness is next to godliness. So one should keep the kitchen very clean. As the food is to be offered to Krishna, the supreme enjoyer, one should not taste anything before offering is made. Many people have a habit of stirring and putting it, tasting, we shouldn't be doing that. Never do that, because you're doing juta. We are not Shabari to offer eaten fruits to the Lord. Shabari was a great devotee of the Lord in Ramayana. So she could offer a fruit. She checked every fruit before she gave it to the Lord, but we are not Shabari. She was a great devotee. Yeah. The most essential ingredients are love and devotion. And Krishna just loves. He's Bhavagrahi Janardana. He just wants our love. And so while cooking, one should remember that one is cooking for Krishna's pleasure, not for our pleasure. Listening to a devotional CD, it's very nice to have either the chanting or lectures or some music, devotional music playing in the kitchen, which is meditative and which helps our consciousness in focusing on what we are preparing for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. A portion of each preparation is arranged in Krishna's personal plate and bowl. So this is made as a separate thing. You offer it in little bowls. Now, I'm not saying we should offer, this is the Raj Bhog which is offered. We don't have to do this every day, but whatever we offer, we keep a separate bowl and spoon and water for Sri Krishna, and we put Tulsi Maharani. She is very important. The Lord accepts as soon as he sees Tulsi. A Tulsi fresh water cup is placed, a Tulsi leaf is placed on the preparation, and it has to be hygienic. And then after you offer to the Lord, give 10 minutes for the Lord to have the Prashadam, that it touches his lips. The moment it touches his lips, it becomes nectarian. Yeah. And say the prayer and offer offer and ring the bell. But the new devotees can just chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times while offering. But devotees who are practicing, we have a certain set of prayers. Sudhir Gopal Prabhu can give you those beautiful prayers where we can offer to Srila Prabhupada, we can offer to Sri Krishna, those to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he'll give you the meaning of those prayers. There's such beautiful prayers. So you can just learn those prayers and offer it. And then before Achaman, so just like we wash our mouth, just as before we take off the Bhoga plate from the altar, we actually offer the Lord some water and keep a glass on the side. And, it's like washing off his, mansikli we are offering that water and saying, oh Krishna, you can wash your mouth, you can wash your feet, you can wash your hands. And then you take the Bhoga plate off. You just don't take it off and run to the kitchen and eat, but you just have to follow certain little things, just like how you would do if an important person comes, we would wash his feet, we would help him wash his hands, and then he will wash his mouth. The same principle is applied because he's Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. He's got a personal form. Yeah. So then going on to what is Prasadam. So we talked about Bhoga. Prasadam is nothing but the mercy that has been offered to the Lord. So food that has been offered to the deities in the temple is called Mahaprasadam. And so we mix this Mahaprasadam or give a little bit of the Mahaprasadam. And then we offer to the altar to our deities in the house. We mix it up, whatever we put in those bowls, we mix it up into the cooking pots. And then we ask everyone to honor Prashadam. So there is a very beautiful disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And I'm always inspired by this devotee who started the first Rath Yatra. His whole mood, he passed away. He left his body when he was pretty young. His whole mood was how to get the whole day he would work to collect the Bhoga, prepare the Bhoga, offering Bhoga to Srila Prabhupada and serving Prasadam to others and taking it himself and then speaking the praises of Prashadam. That was a typical day of Jayannath Prabhu. So it's very inspirational actually when we see exalted devotees like this. American body, but his whole mood was, let me work, let me collect whatever I can gather to me to get the Bhoga together and then cook and offer it and serve. See, it's not cooking, offering and eating, serving others. So that's a very important aspect. Jayannath Prabhu is very, very inspirational. I would recommend, if y'all can speak about him sometime, it'll be beautiful. It's very inspirational. So in conclusion, Prasadam is not only food. Yeah, if you're willing to patiently accept the Lord's will throughout your life, then your entire life becomes Krishna Prashadam. Imagine, yeah. In this way, life becomes sublime, because if it is Krishna Prashadam, you're not taken in by all the anxieties that we are going through now. Yeah. And if you force your requests upon him, then your life is just Bhoga. So whatever you like, if you just force it upon him, it's just Bhoga, not Prasadam. Prasadam nourishes our lives. So if I'm just leaving you all with this thought, I think I have already overrun. I'm sorry for that. So I just wanted to share these few thoughts that came up, and a couple of lectures that I listened to and got it from, different sources. Thank you so much. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mataji. Maybe just for you,
Thank you,
if
Mataji.
anybody has any reflection, any thoughts, anybody would like to share, maybe they could put out on the chat or just very quickly. You can do that. Okay. So,
Prabhuji, one question here. Should I ask?
yeah, please, Prabhu.
Yeah. Though whatever the prasadam for example, we purchase the fruits from the market. So, for example, we take a grapes and of 1 kg, and that has been offered to the Lord Krishna in next 2-3 days. So, is it fine that, because we kept that as a separate over there? So, is it whether it would be treated as a prasadam or it would be considered as a bhoga?
Okay, so if you have a bunch of grapes and you're taking out a portion of it, because if you've got a big quantity,
Yeah.
and you're not offering the whole thing, but you're keeping that, you're not going to be eating from it. If you eat from it, then it is contaminated. But if you're just taking what you have offered to the Lord and you consume from there and keep it, like apples also, we buy a lot of apples. And when we go to the market, we offer 1 or 2 apples and the balance are kept for the following day offering. You can still do that, Prabhu. You can still do that, because we can't, many a times there is another point about wasting prasadam. Just offering and then not honoring that prasadam is worse than offering and honoring whatever little quantity that you've offered to the Supreme Lord. So, the grapes, if you're going to have a whole bunch which is offered to the Lord and not honored, and you're going to throw it, that's criminal. So rather you keep it aside and keep it in the, we have segregated our refrigerators also. So we have deity stuff in one refrigerator and then the prasadam in the other refrigerator. That's what we do. But if you have one also, it's okay. But since everything is offered to the Lord, it is sanctified food, so don't worry. You can keep that separately, and the next day you can take a bunch and offer it. That's perfectly in order. Am I okay?
There's one quick question, you can take it. So, like you talked about prasadam means, right? Like, we are preparing ourselves for the cleanliness, but there's one question: can we offer prasadam before having our bath in the morning?
No.
No.
Body is unclean. We should remember that. And will you go in front of a very important person unclean? So you have to shower.
But Mataji, but Mataji, what happens, in UK and all, it is very, very cold. We can't take it because we have to get up around 3:30 in the morning to prepare some food, because we all go out for work and all those things. So that early morning, we won't be able to, we'll be shivering a lot before taking bath, going to take bath at that time. So that is why we have to prepare some food and then then take bath. What to do this like that here?
Mataji, if the previous night you can keep all the chopping ready, and you after your shower, if you can, quickly have a shower like I do over here. What we do is, of course, we also wake up by 3:30. I sit in chant rounds. Then what I do is I go into the kitchen to cook, because Janavi has to leave to work at 6:30 in the morning. Of course, the UK is very different, and Dubai is very hot. But right now also it's pretty chill, over here. But what we do is, the mood is that I can't present myself unclean to the Lord. So I quickly have a shower and cook bhoga, offer it, and then pack it for Janavi's lunch. So then she's also eating sanctified food, So I understand that it is very cold. You can't have a bath and all. But generally, Mataji, it is always, the standard is that we shower and then we cook. So if you keep all your preps ready the previous day, just the main cooking on the fire is done, and you can offer it to the Lord after your shower. That will be, that is the standard that Srila Prabhupada has given us, Mataji.
I also have another question.
Yeah.
Suppose apples, there are 6 apples.
Yes.
If we have to offer daily to the Lord, means we have to keep them separate, segregated. Apple means individual commodity, no? So if we are taking one offering today, and another, the family is also taking from that we cannot offer as next day.
No, family is taking from the apples which are left behind. Which from the 6 apples. Mataji, then you can't offer it because you've eaten from it, right?
But it is individual commodity, no?
Yeah, it is individual. But what is actually, that's why, in many Western countries, what they do is, I'll tell you my instance. Initially, many years ago, I had this habit before I became a real, Kattar devotee, or whatever you may call me. We used to put our fruits on the table because it's a normal thing, right? On your dining table, you have, beautiful vase, or a platter, and then you keep your fruits. Then one day, one sannyasi came home and he said, are these for offering? I said, yes, Maharaj, nobody has eaten from it. He said, no, please don't keep it here on your dining table, because you eat on this dining table. So that is the level that we have to go to. So, if you keep it on the dining table, people have this tendency to go pick it up and eat. And then you pick it up from that, you wash and you offer it to the Lord. So it's generally told that try and keep it separately, and keep some fruits that you've offered outside so that the family can eat from that. So that's the best way to do it, Mataji. If you bought 6 apples, keep 3 inside so that you can offer it the following day. And 3 you offer it to the Lord and they can eat it. It becomes easier.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last question we can take, Mataji. I think we are running out of time, but last question we can take from this Abha Mataji. Like maybe we can see in the chart, like during these Astuchi times of Mataji's, what should we do during that point of time?
Okay. Can we prepare Bhog during the periods? Mataji, in the olden days, we had, joint families, and we had people who could help in preparing the Bhoga. In those days, now these days we are nuclear families, we are very small families. If you cannot offer a big Bhoga, just get your husband to offer fruits to the Lord, water, milk, and fruits. I think that he can offer to the Lord, right? And then over here, what His Holiness Japtak Maharaj, I think, once told his disciple over here, you offer it to a picture in your, wherever you're cooking, and then, you'll have at least it is offered, but not to the temple. That's a standard. Having said that, once when there was nobody to do the Mangala Arti in one of the temples, you must be knowing Malati Devi Mataji, Malati Prabhu. Prabhupada asked, why is nobody doing the Mangala Arti? And she said that, Prabhupada, I'm off the altar, so how can I do Arti? He said, just go shower, wear a silk and come and do, because you cannot keep the Lord without any, without doing the arti. Now that is a very high standard, because Malti Mataji, we know what she is. But, and so she wore silk and she did the arti, because we cannot stop the activity for the Lord. So to the main altar, if you have deities, it's better to get the husband to chop up a few fruits and flour, milk and everything and offer to the Lord. And you cook and you offer it to a picture in the kitchen, and you all have prasadam. That's something that I have heard from one or two sannyasis. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Another question related to this, please.
Yes.
After how many days are we supposed to offer the Bhoga?
So the fourth day we have our bath, right? Which, I mean, every day you have a bath, but on the fourth day it's supposed to be thing. So generally they say after the fourth day.
Fifth day, that means.
Yeah, fifth day. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mataji. Definitely, a lot of devotees have many more questions. They were really, really inspired and delighted to have you with us. So thank you very much, and looking forward to have your and Prabhuji's association sometime soon, physically in Bangalore, where we can have more kirtan and more katha.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Looking forward. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. So now we'll move forward. Thank you very much, Mataji, once again. So before we proceed, yes, today we lost one of the legendary, and I guess he's Lata Mangeshkar. She is known to be not only a singer but also a nice devotee for even ISKCON. She had organized a lot of programs for different concerts, so that the temple get benefited and so on. And as we see, has been a really promoter of the God consciousness. So we sincerely pray at the Lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Samsundar that they shower their choicest blessings upon this beautiful soul. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So now let's read the nectar of the holy name, and then we can proceed for the chanting of the holy name. Yes, please. Yes. The nectar of the holy name, the only hope in Kali Yuga. Lord Sri Krishna personally came as Lord Chaitanya in order to distribute the process of chanting, the easiest means in this age, to the highest perfection of life. Out of many thousands of persons who are in self-knowledge as to what and who they are, only one or two may be actually liberated. And out of many thousands who are liberated, only one or two may understand what and who Krishna is. So understanding Krishna is not such an easy job. Thus, in the age of Kali, an age characterized by ignorance and chaos, liberation is out of reach of practically everyone. One has to go through the whole ordeal of becoming civilized, then religious. And then one has to perform charities, sacrifices, and come to the platform knowledge. Then to the stage of liberation. And finally, after liberation, to the understanding of what Krishna is. Next. Practically speaking, this process is not very easy in this age of Kali. In Srimad Bhagavatam, a description is given of the people of this age. Their duration of life is said to be very short. They tend to be phlegmatic and slow and to sleep a great deal. And when they are not sleeping, they are busy earning money. At the most, they only have 2 hours a day for spiritual activity. So what is the hope for spiritual understanding? It is also stated that even if one is anxious to make spiritual progress, there are many pseudo-spiritual societies to take advantage of it. People are also characterized in this age as being unfortunate. They have a great deal of difficulty meeting the primary demands of life: eating, defending, mating, and sleeping. Necessities which are met even by the animals. Even if people are meeting these necessities in this age, they are always anxious about war, either defending themselves from aggressors or having to go to war themselves. In addition to this, they are always disturbing diseases and economic problems in Kali Yuga. Therefore, Lord Krishna considered that in this age, it is impossible for people to come to the perfection stage of liberation by following the prescribed rules and regulations. Thus, out of his causeless mercy, Sri Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and distributed the means to the highest perfection of life and spiritual ecstasy by chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hari Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This process of chanting is the most practical and does not depend on whether one is liberated or not, whether one's condition is conducive to spiritual life or not. Whoever takes to this process becomes immediately purified. Therefore, it is called pavitram, pure. Furthermore, for one who takes to this Krishna conscious process, the seeds of latent reactions to his sinful actions are all nullified. Just as fire turns whatever we put into it ashes, this process turns to ashes all the sinful reactions of our past lives. So now we understand how purifying and how simplest the process of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is. Let's take shelter of the chanting of the holy name.
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakti. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Sivasadi Gaur Bhakti
Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yajna ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you very much. So now we'll be heading to the breakout room. So I hope everybody has renamed yourself with the prefix. So let's go, and we'll be back in 45 minutes. Okay, I would request everybody to please join into your respective rooms. Hare Krishna. So maybe we can pause